welcome back to the Broadside Podcast. We're just rocking out here to that song by Cody Beebe and the Crooks. Today, episode 3, I got to chat with Mike Herz on the phone. Now, Mike's a guy I've never talked to in person, but I've followed on social media for quite a while because when I don't know what the hell's going on in the world of hunting, he's the guy that keeps me in the know of what the hell's going on. It's a great guy who puts in a lot of effort to help maintain our way of life of hunting and conservation. We get into it about our plans this year for what we're doing hunting-wise, trips we're taking, the future generations of hunting. Also dive into some organizations like Washingtonians for Wildlife Conservation, Howl for Wildlife, and how you can also get involved in commission meetings and speak up to help keep our way of life. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoy it. Well, how you been, Mike?
Good.
I kind of just start these off by letting you introduce yourself, if you want to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, my name is Mike Herz. Live here in Washington. Lifetime resident, really. Born and raised in Washougal. Being the motocross guys out there, that's where Nationals is at. And now I live in Kalama, just north of Vancouver a little bit. Been there for, I think, 16 or 17 years now. And both my kids graduated, moved out of the house, and it's just me and my wife, and we just became grandparents Christmas Day. So starting to do that was pretty fun. Been hunting in Washington since I was 13. I'm now 49, so I've been around a bit. Just started out deer hunting with my dad, and then got into elk hunting kind of on my own towards the end of my high school career, and then got into bow hunting and really took off for elk there. Always, blacktail hunting on the west side, and started going to Idaho, and then we started going to Utah. So we've been getting out and around quite a bit. I have 3 younger brothers. They all hunt, so it's pretty fun. I mean, we really don't hunt with anybody else but our immediate family. So,
nice. Congrats on being a grandparent. That's awesome.
Thanks.
You guys got any hunts planned this year you're excited to? I know a lot of out-of-state stuff's going on sale right about now, and the deadlines are coming up.
Yeah, so we put in for points for Wyoming, and we were getting ready to pull the trigger on Wyoming this year, but then they cut tags, and so we're gonna wait one more year for Wyoming, and we should draw Utah this year. We didn't draw last year, and we'll have points this year, so we should draw Utah deer between my brothers and my youngest son, and then just hunting around Washington. I am about at max points for sheep, goat, and moose. So I keep telling myself any year, I'm ready. I'm gonna draw it any year now, but here I am at almost max points and haven't drawn them yet.
Damn, that's a lot of years of putting in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, this year I think I'll have 12 points for multi-season elk.
Jesus.
Which I know. I talked to guys, I put in and I drew like my second year. I'm like, are you kidding me? So hopefully if I can draw that, then I'm gonna save my points for quality elk and put on an east side hunt. Because over here, I've hunted the mudflow, I've hunted not Lewitt, what the heck? It's it used to be really, really good, right next to the mudflow. Dang it. Can't remember anyway, but those units have gone to shit since the hoof rot has taken over. They've cut the tags, so I don't want to burn up my points on the west side.
Yeah.
It is kind of sucks.
Yeah, maybe you got to stop voicing your opinion so much, and you'll end up drawing something from these guys.
I know. I kind of joked about that I'll never draw another tag in Washington because of my mouth. But
Yeah,
you know, if I can get some more opportunities for guys because I'm spouting off, that's fine. Let them hunt. I'm here to fight for everybody else.
yeah. That actually kind of brings me to my next my next thing was I was gonna say is I always kind of look for you because you've always seemed to got your finger on the pulse of what's going on. Um, it's when I get super busy and I'm like I got to figure out what the heck's happening around here. I always find one of your posts and or I'll message you too and probably annoy the shit out of you, but
No, not at all.
you're a guy I always look to keep me in the know of what these clowns are doing in the commission. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's it's becoming almost a full-time job. I it happened about 2 years ago with the whole spring bear debacle and um, losing that and getting involved. And I'd been bear hunting for I don't know 3 or 4 years before that spring bear stuff came up, and I got into wanted to apply for spring bear, so I got to put in 1 year, and then they took it away. And I'm like, I can't, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to sit here and watch as this commission starts to just pick away at our pastimes, the passions that we like to do. Hunters by nature like to be left alone. They like to go do their thing and be left alone and have their fun. And they really, they just kind of keep to themselves. But more and more, we're having to, stand up and fight for what we like to do. We don't care what other people do. It's none of our business. And other people are getting into our business and trying to tell us how we should live and what we should do. And it's time for guys to start sticking up for what they like. I'm seeing it less and less now. When you make a post, less and less of the, well, this isn't going to do any good, or you're just pissing up the wrong tree. I'm seeing a lot more of what can I do, and very rarely do I see anybody just, this isn't going to do any good. And in some instances, it might not. But I'm not going to be the guy that sat on the sidelines and watched everything go away. And then when it's gone, man, I wish I would have done something. I'm doing everything I can, trying to get as much people activated and engaged as I can. Then I've done my part. I'm not going to die and say, hey, I wish I would have done more, because I'm trying to make a difference.
Yeah, I've always noticed those negative posts, those negative Nancy's, as you want to call them. Anytime you try to bring light to something, and they're like, "Yeah, that does no good," and it's like, well, you talking down about what we're trying to do does way less than any good. So
Yeah, and you get these guys or the guys that, well, no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm just going to go hunt. Oh, so you're advocating for poaching? Yeah, that's a horrible mindset to have.
yeah, bad luck.
I get you're frustrated with the way things are going, but going about it that way is going to be even worse for our culture, the way people look at us. And that's what we got to try and do is we got to get out of the echo chamber where we're talking to just hunters about this stuff, because we already know the hunters are on our side.
Yeah.
And we're a minority. The anti-hunting group is a minority, but the greater 90% of the people who don't hunt, those are the people that we need to influence. And if we can just, give them some positive stories, or tell them, about how we do things and what we do, when these things, if they ever do come to a ballot initiative, hopefully they'll think, hey, I know Mike or I know Andy. Those are good guys. I can help support what they're doing. It's something I believe in, and I'm gonna support them instead of, having some bad PR out there. So, oh well, there's just a bunch of dumb rednecks out there shooting stuff up.
Yeah, yeah. Give them something that sticks with them about the culture and the way of life it is, and it's not just something we do when we get a handy 6-pack and drive down the road.
Yeah, I mean, if they, Disney and all these movies, they paint kind of you go out there every time and you're shooting something, you're killing something, and that's kind of some of these hunting shows, 21 kill shots in 5 seconds. That's just not how it is. As well as I do, there's hours and hours that you go out there and you may not see anything, hear anything, and months or weeks you go without killing anything. I mean, it's 10% of the guys are killing 90% of the animals.
Yeah, yep, yeah. So jump back a little bit, and maybe you can sum it up for people that don't know. But how did we get here to the point where we don't have a spring bear hunt, and now we just lost a loud voice on our side, Don McIsaac, as a commissioner. It seems like it's a kind of a downward spiral that we're hitting here in Washington.
Yeah, and I think it's going to get, as much as I hate to say this, I think it's going to get darker before it gets better. The whole spring bear really started with kind of the way that they worded it. They would review the spring bear every year, and then they would set the season for the next year. Well, somehow it got messed up in the way that was presented, and some of the people on the commission, like Lorna Smith and Fred Coons, who isn't there anymore, I think that they had some outside influences, and they took this as a way to kind of hold up the spring bear season setting because of a technicality. And they held it up and kicked the can down the road far enough that spring bear came up. There was no season, so they put a quote unquote pause on the season. During the whole pause, Fred Kuntz received a bunch of, I don't know about threats. Maybe he did, I don't know. But he felt very uncomfortable and resigned from the commission. And at that point, we didn't have a full commission anyway. And so they had a vote, and it was tied, and it was seen as the way that they worded it, not technicality, but a vote. It was tied. I think it was four and four against, and so there was no tiebreaker. And so the way that it's read is it goes to no decision. So we're still at a pause. And so then comes the new commissioners during last year's legislative session that were appointed by Jay Inslee. And Jay Inslee is no friend of the hunting public. He appointed 3 commissioners, Tim Reagan, Melanie Rowland, and Limcool. And Limcool says he's a hunter, but he has not really shown us too much support. But with those 3, now the anti-hunting, as I want to call them, portion of the commission has a leg up. And they went this last October, I think it was, while everybody's out hunting, and had a workshop and decided that there would be no spring bear. And but Limcool said that we don't want to use recreational hunters for the management of black bears, which is a whole another can of worms because they use recreational hunters for management of all the animals.
Yeah.
It was just a way for them to word it for the constituents so that the evil recreational hunters didn't have a say in the spring bear management picture. And then with Don McIsaac leaving now, and probably not Lorna Smith, but Kim Thornburn, she probably won't be reappointed this year. We're going to be in a world of hurt. That leaves Jim Anderson, our really our hugest, staunchest ally for the hunting side of things. It's there's going to be at least 2 more commissioners probably appointed. I guess there's Linville, Molly Linville. She's good too.
Yeah.
She's on our side too. She's really good. She's from the east side, but there's a lot of different organizations that are really, really advocating to the governor's office to get qualified people in these commission seats, and not these special interest groups who are. We're losing our representation for hunting, trapping, and fishing. It's getting worse, and I'm really worried about what's going to happen this legislative session with who he appoints.
Yeah, it seems like we're pretty outnumbered in there, and like I'm curious to see, or I'd like to know how many of them in the last 10, 20 years has even held a hunting or a fishing license. Right? Like which one of, I'm guessing Jim has, but
oh yeah, Jim has. I've talked to him on a few occasions. I know he just got he got an elk this year, got a deer this year. So I know he is active participant. He fishes all the time. And Kim, she's a bird watcher, a vegan. And she's one of our best allies.
Yeah, she's an anomaly.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah.
So you can't judge a book by its cover. She's awesome. She's a rock star, and I don't want to lose her. But she has, butted heads with Inslee, so I don't know if she'll be reappointed.
Yeah, that's pretty sad to hear. I think me and Inslee only have like one thing in common, and that's we're not welcome in a few bars over here in Eastern Washington. So I guess so. Yeah, McIsaac stepping down. I kind of read what he'd wrote about that, and then we're also I seen you posting about the Washington for Wildlife Conservation, and they're bringing on a lawsuit.
Yep. They haven't filed it yet. I think, don't quote me, but I think that the governor's office has been notified. I know that Washingtonians for Wildlife Management, they are trying to get more other organizations to help sponsor what they're doing or back them up, to go in with them before they file it. A really good resource to get a hold of to get the nuts and bolts of this, if you really wanted to dive down on it, would be Jason Bosler for I think it's Washington State Archers Association, and he's also involved with Washingtonians for Wildlife Conservation. I will get you his contact information.
Yeah, for sure.
He's very involved also with what's going on with the commission, and he's also on one of the coalitions that I'm part of. It's the Washington Fish and Wildlife Coalition, which is a new group that is, we have members from Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Ducks Unlimited, Northwest Inland Wildlife Council. It's a big conglomerate of fishing and hunting groups to help bring all of our wants, needs, and desires together and get them, presented to legislation or whatever path it leads down.
Yeah. So, I guess, is there what's the what do you see coming next? What's the next I kind of missed the last commission meeting that was that Friday, I believe.
Yeah.
I,
So so on Friday they had there was a spring bear petition, and we knew that early on that not early on, but a week prior, that the department was going to recommend that they deny the petition because they didn't have what the commission wanted to justify a spring bear hunt. That they needed. They don't. They didn't, it's kind of a quick thing. This petition, but the commission has said what they want, and the department needs time, and we wouldn't have enough time, I don't think, the department, to give this commission what they want to have a spring bear this year, because we tried to give them everything that they wanted in the last 2 years, and they still denied it.
yeah.
So I hope that the department is taking a step back and trying to give them hard data on timber damage, on bear-human conflict, and we know that the Blues Mountain elk herd is in dire straits. And one thing I don't understand, what the department, they said that the bears are not detrimental to the neonates in the blues, but that doesn't make sense to me, because we know that black bears account for 40% of mortality on fawns and calves. So even though you're only taking out, well, I can't remember, it's like 100 and some, 150 maybe black bears were taken in that spring bear hunt.
Yeah.
If you can save that many calf elk, I think that should be an incentive to have that spring bear to save those elk, because you're not getting enough elk for even recruitment to keep the herd at a maintained level. You're losing right now. They don't have enough calf recruitment for the spring. So that petition got denied, but that's not going to be the end of it. Can't really say too much more.
Yeah.
But there's other things happening. I brought up the fact that the multi-season, I don't know if you put in for multi-season tags.
Yeah.
But this last year, did you draw this last year, or did you try and put in for, or wait for an email for the leftovers?
So I drew deer.
Right.
And then I waited, and I got an email for a leftover elk tag. Like, it was like the end of rifle season, maybe. It was crazy. I was like, why would I buy this now?
Yeah, exactly. And I brought that up to him. I said, you guys, you guys need to go back to the first come, first serve, because there were people who waited and waited and waited and never got anything until, like you, towards the end. Why? They just lost out on a crap ton of revenue. There's a ton of guys that in 2-3 days, those will sell out, and then you got all the revenue, and you don't have to keep doing. I mean, some people got emails like 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
It was ridiculous. So I don't know if they'll do anything with it, but I saw the director write a bunch of notes down when I was talking, and Linville said the same thing, that it was just an absolute freaking train wreck the way that they did it this year. And I told them, do not do that again. Go back to first come, first serve, and everybody's going to be much happier about it, because it was a shit show.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I think I got multiple emails, and I think the first one was like the season had started, and I was like, I'd probably buy this if you would have emailed me a month ago.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but you need the time to schedule vacation at work. It's not like you can just, everybody's got disposable income and can just leave at a moment's notice as soon as, oh, hey, I got to go. That's not how it works in the real world,
Yeah.
A lot of these guys plan for months and months just for some of these hunts.
Yeah, and the whole system of that too is it's kind of screwy how not only just multi-season, but like if you go to put in for a special hunt, I got to pick, what side of the state I want, Like, well, let me know if I drew that hunt before I pick the side of the state I want to draw in, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
so there's like I don't know, there's just some weird things that doesn't make any sense to me, and maybe I just don't know why they do them. But let me buy an elk tag and draw, put in for west, east side, whatever, and then I'll pick my side after I figure out what or I didn't draw, right?
Right. I think, some of it has to do with pressure. Everybody wants to go hunt the big Rockies,
Yeah.
the trophy units over on the east side. And I think that part of the reasoning for them to, pick west or east is you don't have a bunch of people from the west side coming over and blowing up the whole east side. I get it. I mean, nobody's coming from the east side and coming over here and hunting Roosevelt's. I mean,
I'm about to. Tired of hunting spikes over here.
see, and that's another thing. I don't this the spike only thing. You want to grow your elk herd, but you're shooting all the spikes. Why not make it a 3-pointer better?
Yeah.
And I I don't get it.
Well,
I
even
don't
archery, they took a lot of the units over here away where it was cow or spike or cow. Now it's just spikes. It's like, man,
really.
yeah,
Yeah, so we over here we just got the 2 weeks in September, and then we have like almost 3 weeks in November into December. It's over 3 weeks. It's fast becoming one of my favorite hunts, and it's over the counter, and it's 3-pointer better or cow, depending on what unit you're in. Some units is cow only or it's bull only, but where we hunt it's 3-pointer better or cow. And they just changed that because a few years ago it wasn't. You could only shoot cows, you couldn't shoot bulls, but the bull to cow ratio is super super high, so they're trying to knock that down a little bit. And I don't think they're doing it because they keep offering that hunt, so we
Hmm.
keep taking it.
yeah, yeah. Why not?
So
Um,
what about you? You going anywhere this year?
yeah. I got an Idaho tag for deer.
Oh my
Um,
God, what a freaking nightmare that was for my friends trying to get onto that queue.
oh man, dude. Well, that kind of was what I was going to bring up a little bit is how similar, percentage of like public land and opportunities we could have compared to Idaho if we managed our shit better. Um, and how many people from here are trying to go there to spend their money, right? Like I think somebody I knew was like 20,000th in line or something like that to get a tag.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. No, there's people at work when that was a December 1st, and they were like 14,000, and there was a lady at work, and she was like 22,000.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
nuts.
I'll see you later. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, yeah. And I ended up getting a deer tag there, and I'm gonna put in for deer in Montana. Um, actually, well, I think the deadline's tonight.
Oh wow.
For elk in Wyoming, and I might actually, after we get off here, I might actually purchase a draw there. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna spring bear hunt in Idaho. Kind of just go scout the area I plan on deer hunting.
Right.
Um, but one of my big goals this year is uh, I've kind of been pretty lackadaisical on turkey hunting, and I want to get my daughter out with me and take her out and introduce her to turkey hunting a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be a blast. I love I love taking my kids hunting. I would take them, bef- before they were old enough to go hunt. I would take them out, and I would dedicate one weekend that I would take them, and it didn't matter if we saw a deer or not, but get them to experience and hang out with dad. And half the time I would turn around and they were twirling sticks like a baton behind me. And I look back on those memories now and think very fondly of them because they turned out to be killers growing up. So if they they had fun. I've done my part, and they still have the drive and passion to do it. So it must not have burned them out too bad.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I actually I don't know if you've heard of this thing called land trust.
I don't think so.
So it's a relatively new website program it's basically um, some people are gonna hate this. It's like an Airbnb for private property for hunting rights, right?
Oh,
So if a farmer's got a big field that they get a bunch of geese on, and they're not farming it during geese or waterfowl season, they can lease that by the day for a fee, right? So you get on there and you book it like an Airbnb, and you and your two guests or whatever have that whole field for the 2 days you book it, and so they do it for all sorts of stuff. Um, Turkey, deer, elk, in a bunch of different states. So I was thinking I'm gonna look up and find like kind of a private piece somewhere that and try this thing out to take because my daughter's 4, so like we're not going too crazy, right? So,
yeah,
but I just want to get her out somewhere where we can go hiking easy. Um, so I'm thinking about booking one to see what it's all about. It looks like a pretty cool deal. If you're planning a hunt out of state, you might be able to find a farmer's property who's got a cabin on it that you get that whole 4,000 acres to yourself for a couple $100 a day.
yeah. It's that'd be a good deal, especially like you're saying for out of state,
Yeah.
because I mean you can e-scout and like my youngest kid, he drew a Palouse tag, and we went over there in the summertime and went door to door, knocking on farmers, you know, doors and trying to get permission. And we ended up getting like 5,000 acres of property that we could hunt on. But I mean, it took us all summer to get going to all those farmers. And when you're out of state, Montana or
Yeah.
Idaho, you don't have the time or the resources to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're selling this thing as. It takes that awkward door knock out of the way. Um,
Yeah, and nowadays, I mean, that was freaking what, 15 years ago. I mean, now people they probably won't even answer your door anymore.
yeah, 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 and it gives the farmers some extra income when they're not farming, and
Well,
then
not only that, but they can help control who's on their land.
yep,
Um, and it's basically just paying a trespass fee,
yeah,
and
pretty much,
it's gonna, I mean, as well as I do, there's a lot of animals that run to private property. You get up to that line, and you can see all the animals on private side, and you're stuck on state land or Forest Service land where the animals aren't at.
yeah. I'm
But that could help out other people in the long run. You get more people on the private pushing them back onto state land and U.S. Forest Service land. I
yep,
mean, it could be a win-win.
yeah. I'm curious to see how it goes. It's pretty new. I've kind of been hearing more and more about it lately, but I think that's what I'm gonna do for a turkey hunt for a weekend with my daughter is, find somewhere that's just kind of a easy place to get into that might have some birds to find.
Yeah, and that might be, I know everybody doesn't like to, the three R's: recruit, retain, and uh, reactivate. But we gotta have people to take our place when we're done, and
Yep.
maybe this helps lower that barrier for entry for people trying to get into hunting, whether it's turkey or waterfowl. They can go someplace where they can have some success and then branch out from there.
Yeah, that keep them wanting to come back because man, I know when I was younger and getting into waterfowl, I was way bigger into waterfowl at a younger age than I am now. But man, it could make you question if you want to keep going, freezing your ass off every day and not killing shit. You know?
Yeah, having a hinge shoveler come in, the
Yeah,
only
exactly.
duck you saw all day. Yeah, no, I used to duck hunt a lot when I was younger before I got married, and then I just had too many hobbies, between rifle and bow and then bear and then elk. I mean, just
Yeah,
I I started doing the late archery, and so I wasn't duck hunting very much anymore. And then shed hunting. I've got shed dogs now, where I
Oh,
go out and
nice.
shed hunt with hounds. They just he's got to only so much you can do. He's got to pick your hobbies.
Yeah, and waterfowl is. I mean, I still want to. I still want to go do it. Still have the last few years, but I grew up on the west side of Washington as well, and it was a lot easier over there.
Oh yeah,
Um, but it's an easy one to kind of like. This one might get kicked to the curb because nobody wants to sit outside for 7 hours in 7-degree weather.
yeah. When my kids were younger, I used to have to get them in the blind and have a little buddy heater and get them all with hot cocoa and everything and ear muffs, so the shooting wouldn't hurt their ears. But yeah, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to get those kids out there.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I mean, we all got to do that though. We got to keep the next generation interested.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Um, so is there do they got any more meetings people can get involved in coming up for the WDFW commission or?
Oh yeah, if you go to Washington Fish and Wildlife and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and you go to commission, uh, click on that, and then you go into commission meetings, and they'll be they'll have the whole year's um, uh, meetings planned out um, on the website. And about a week before, I'm logging on right now, about a week before the meeting, they'll have what the agenda is and what the talking points are going to be about. And usually, Fish and Wildlife Commission meetings, upcoming meetings, scheduled for 2023. So the next one is February 17th, and it's a web conference. No agenda yet. Usually you'll be able to click on the agenda. And they're going to be hybrid meetings. There's one in Wenatchee, Anacortes, Seattle, Olympia, Ephrata, Olympia. But almost every one of them is a hybrid. So when it's a hybrid, they'll have people in person. Those people get to speak first at the open public input, and then they'll take, if there's time, they'll take people from like a Zoom
Gotcha.
call, like they've been doing during the whole COVID fiasco.
Yeah.
But if people wanted to if they missed the meeting, you can always go back and you can listen to the audio and video minutes. But if people just go in and do the public comment period, that goes a long ways. I know that most of this commission is tough to deal with as far as we're concerned, but the more that we're in their ear and not going away, maybe it'll make them think about their decisions in the future and the repercussions that it's going to have, like this lawsuit that's happening. They're going to go after the governor because he's the one who appoints the commission members.
Yeah.
He's not following the mandates that he's supposed to when he appoints these people. So that's why they're going after him and not the commission for this spring bear stuff. So
Yeah,
hopefully
it's crazy to watch, and some of these people that have been appointed to this position who uh, they're almost like fucking characters, like.
Oh, they totally are. They're pawns for these other entities like Center for Biological Diversity and Washington Wildlife First and Defenders of Wildlife. These people are just pawns for those groups, and they do their bidding, and they use. I mean, as well as I do that one. Roland, she got a text message when they were doing the spring bear vote, and I have my own ideas of who that was because I've seen other things in other meetings. But yeah, it's they're they are not. They have zero. I mean, she tried to cover up the fact that she didn't know Roland, that she didn't know what we hunt in the spring.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You remember she didn't know anything about turkeys. She didn't know anything about cougars. She didn't know about coyotes. And she this last meeting, she said that, oh yeah, we know everything that we hunt in the spring. No, you don't. I can go back and look in the records and pull up the audio of when you said what other animals do we hunt in the spring besides spring bear. I mean, she's getting an education.
Yeah, I mean, close to, but not exact quote was that I just found out yesterday. I think she said that we hunt turkeys in the spring, or I just found that out. Is
Yeah,
what
and,
she
and
said in
that's
that meeting.
somebody on our commission,
Yeah,
the Fish and Wildlife Commission.
yeah, that was crazy. And then it's sickening to watch the look on the biologist's face. You know, when they're
Yeah,
just
I'm pretty
completely
sure she
disregarding.
quit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she quit because of that whole thing.
Yeah,
Because I haven't seen her, and I swear I saw someplace that position is open for state carnivore biologist.
I mean, you can't blame her.
Yeah, when if I worked for somebody and they told me that I wasn't doing my job right and I sucked, basically, I wouldn't work for them.
Yeah, that takes me to the Tim guy who Reagan. And there's apparently never enough information for him to make a decision on anything. Every time I ever see him talk, he just talks about how he wants more info, and that the info of the people that they employ to give him the info is not good enough info. And it's just like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, I told my wife, I said I would hate to go grocery shopping with that guy because we would never get any groceries. There would never be enough information. He'd want to know where that chicken was raised, what it was fed, what the butcher's name was, and what kind of acreage it was on. And I was like, it's never, like you said, it's never ever enough information for that guy to make a decision.
Yeah.
He is the biggest do nothing commissioner we have, and I'm sure he's a very smart man, but wildlife management and marine mammal management, completely two different worlds. One's consumptive and sustainable, and the other one is, it seems like the marine mammal side, they are always fighting for, these animals to survive. These animals that we're hunting, they are surviving, they're thriving, and they have for the last 100 years because of hunters and our conservation efforts.
Yeah. He's the guy that sits there and can't decide which place to go eat dinner. Um,
Yep.
yeah, it's a scary place. I mean, there's always out of state, but I hate to see what's happening here happen.
Yeah. No, yeah. It makes me sick.
Um, I, I'm not a biologist or any of that, but I feel like we could be just as prevalent as the state of Idaho for non-residents to come hunt if, you know, we had the same efforts from our wildlife department, I guess.
Yeah. Promote the wildlife instead of trying. You know, their preservationist mindset. Keep everything in a nice little bubble, and it'll be just fine. That's not the way it works. Our man's hand is already on the landscape. We have to manage these animals, and that's all there is to it. We can't go back to the way it was. Like these people want to think, we just have the wolves and the bears and the cougars take care of everything. It's not how it works. Look at the wolves and the cougars over on the east side. The cougars are eating the wolves.
Oh yeah, yep,
And
it's crazy.
they've never hardly seen this documented anywhere, and it seems like it's happening a lot in Washington. It tells me that there's a predator problem over there. There's too many of one and not enough of the other. I don't know, but I mean that was not normal at all.
Yeah, yeah, it's I don't know, it's kind of sad. Uh, I hope everything that you seem to be fighting pretty hard for all of it, and I appreciate all the hard work you put into it.
Yeah, I try to do as much as I possibly can, and I'm sure people like on some of the Facebook um, pages, I swear I'm like post after post after post is mine. But the more, if I could just get a few people to get and engaged and moving, and then spread the word to somebody else, or make somebody think about something, or call a state representative or something. If it makes one person, then I feel like I've done my job. And we've got another shitstorm in Washington with all these anti-gun bills getting ready to hit.
Oh
It's
yeah.
that's a whole another can of worms, but it's all tied to the same people.
Yep. Yeah. It's I just well I think you know, but I just got my FFL in the last year for selling firearms, and then I see all this stuff coming through, and it's like, man, like what was the point of that? Like, um, but it's a fight we got to keep fighting, and um, I know what. So correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Washington for Wildlife Conservation?
Washingtonians for
Washingtonians.
Yeah, Washingtonians for wildlife management. I can't, like I said, I'll get you Jason Bosler's contact information. He is a wealth of information when it comes to this stuff and that lawsuit, because
Oh, okay.
I think I don't he's on the board or something. He's pretty embedded with those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, uh, also, fill me in too. But the best thing that we can all do is help, get everyone involved in speaking up. I know I can do better too myself.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's tough, man. I understand. I mean, like some of these hot button issues came up right in the middle of hunting season, and I
yeah,
swear to God that they do that on purpose. So the guys that affects this the most are out hunting, and they're not at these meetings. There was times where I would try when I was up bear hunting. I would find some place on a mountain where I had cell reception and call in. It's I couldn't do it every time, but I did it as many times as I could. Um, but another way for people to get involved, and it's super easy. I've been involved with them for a couple of years now, and that's Howl for Wildlife. And they have super easy action items you can get into. They keep you informed of everything. They've been super involved with the stuff that's happening in Washington.
oh
Super
yeah,
involved. They get you talking points. Um, Charles Whitlam, he's the president and founder. I mean, he gives you talking points and helps get everything lined out. So all you have to do is click, and then it gets you RSVP'd to the meeting, and then public speaking comes up, and you say your piece, and you move on. But I mean, they make it super easy for guys to get involved. It just need guys to take the time to do it.
yeah. I see that they're making a lot of change, man. Every time they post, it seems like they're making a big impact. I got it up here. It's Washingtonians for Wildlife Conservation, w4wc.org.
Yep.
And then for Howl, it's howlforwildlife.org. And those are
Yep.
both great places to get involved. Um, is there anything else that, let's see here. Hold on. It looks like Washingtonians for Wildlife Conservation is actually at the Puyallup Fair tomorrow. Fair and Expo Center for the Sportsman Show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like on their schedule, Wednesday, February 1st, noon to 8. So if you're out at the Sportsman Show this week, looks like they're there till the 5th. That'd be a good time to go get involved as well.
Yep. And I know that they get involved with them and sign up and uh, become a member.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Great organization.
You got anything else? Any other ways that people can get involved pretty good or easily?
Uh, no.
I mean, those are both great
Yeah,
places to start.
yep. And then just like I said, one thing, if people can get on the they can get on the Washington Fish and Wildlife email list, and they will let you know, a lot of things like clam digs and stuff like that. But they'll also let you know about meetings, public input, for everything, from freaking robins to fish to deer, bear. Um, they're pretty good about notifying the public prior to things that they want public comment on. And the other thing is like when surveys and stuff come out, fill those things out. Don't just put them in your spam mail when those um, emails come from Fish and Wildlife, because believe it or not, your voice does matter.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, regardless of what your sport is, too, it may be spring bear now, but it might be waterfowl next year.
Oh yeah, and they're already going after beaver, and then they're going to go after more trapping. It's it's cliche, but it's death by 1,000 cuts. It may not be your passion today, but it will be tomorrow. So just like that, we lost hound hunting. It's
Yeah, that's killing. It's killing us.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's probably why the cats are eating the dogs.
Yeah, my brother just had he lives out in Washougal. He just had a cat kill a deer 50 yards from his shop, and he's got two little young kids that run out in the woods all the time, and there's a big old gut pile covered up. So he's on damage control right now, trying to find that cat.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. We live pretty close to a creek bottom. It's dried up this time of year, but neighbors down the road and we'll get them on their Ring doorbell cams, and it's like let my kid run around in the yard down by the creek bottom. It's kind of scary to think of.
Yeah, that little girl, I think her name is Lily, over on the east side. She's lucky to be alive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're coming up on, we're getting close to an hour. I don't know if you got anything else you really want to hammer home, but it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, let's do this again in the future, and let's see what comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to hear some stories too later on about some hunts and stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Got one or two.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this all podcasting is all new to me. If people listen, great. I hope they take your advice and sign up and help. So thanks for coming.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for having me, buddy.
All right. Have a good one, Mike.
You too.